Okay. So we're back from a little technical break to soften our throats, especially. And so we're ready then a round of so I guess it's my turn again. And so my question it will be a little bit more. I mean, not my question, but my subject will be a little bit different from the first one I brought. So my subject is entitled "New Anime versus Old."
Hmm.
What do you guys think? What like differences? Which one's best?
Uh, well,
Like new anime versus old anime. What do you think?
Well,
yeah. I think fucking stuff like, of course, animation, duh, but like dialogue, I feel like that have changed through the years.
Hmm. Like if you had to pick one, which one you think is the best? Old anime or
Of
new
all
anime?
in of all animes.
Like let's consider old anime
like
Yeah.
uh
very old.
past past 2010. Let's go for that.
Oh,
Because
Well,
there's already like shows from let's say 2006 which can be in a way considered classics, I guess. Like I don't know. Like currently Genko almost. I mean, I guess that could almost be considered a classic as well. Shit like Code Geass, which feels way more older than it actually is as well. I don't know. Like let's go from you know what, not 2010 because that also includes some of the shows that actually went. Let's go from past 2008 or 2007, around those years. Like let's draw a line there, and which one would you consider to be the best, the old anime or the new anime?
oh boy, that's like fucking asking who your great grandfather was.
Oh boy, come on! It's not that long ago. I mean, you're currently watching a show from that.
Yeah. But I don't know. I feel like I'm kind of disqualified from saying Code Geass because I'm still fucking episode 7.
Or it'll just keep getting better. Like, really.
Yeah.
I mean, in my opinion, people have some problems with the season 2, but I mean, you're gonna watch the first season, you're still gonna love the whole show. More of the same stuff, just getting better and better.
Yeah. Oh yeah. So like at season 2 is gonna start. Like with like what his big plan is, or
It's I can't really tell.
it's a secret.
Let's say it kind of has fucking cat. Wait, just
Got that
genius.
fucking big up.
Beep beep. Fucking, just gonna punch you. Okay, get out of here. No, don't just get out. Thank you. Just you.
Hey, you're
Come.
doing a podcast?
We try to be professionals here, okay? Okay, so I guess I could just say that it was sort of he keeps going. I don't know if you can hear it or not. So you kind of has to go from the beginning, kind of. You'll see once you get there, but I still find a second. It's like overall it's kind of I guess a little bit below the first season, but then you get to the ending, and oh yes, so good. Which is technically not an ending like we talked about before, but still, it's really good. So, I mean, let me see your list. Make sure you can go ahead and see what you think about like old anime versus new anime.
well,
What do you think?
old anime has like a legacy, like very big animes that influenced what we see today, while new animes are pretty rare to innovate. Um, I haven't seen it, but surely Violet Evergarden is
Mhm.
something new from all the general anime we see with all the fan service and
Yeah, definitely.
accent put on the wrong thing.
Hmm.
Well, old anime really had the intention to show something, and I must say that like 2008, right? Toradora, um, Spice and Wolf, even
Yeah,
what was called Angel Beats 2010, I guess.
yeah, but that's a little bit more considered more to the new kind of type of anime in a way. At
And
least I'd say so.
Soul Eater 2008.
Yeah, Soul Eater. Yeah, Soul Eater. I guess so.
there
Yeah,
are
I guess it could still be considered.
big animes that are still watched today for a reason, because they are good. They remain good throughout the time, because they are still relevant. You know.
Definitely. Yeah. Well, I personally, between old and new anime, it's kind of like a lot of people have this sort of discussion of a poll on my Twitter account. You probably saw it, which I had like, for you, which one is the best era for anime? And I had like the 70s, 90s, between the 70s and the 90s, the early 2000s or late 2000s. And I actually don't remember, but I think it was really mixed. The 2000, the early 2000s and the late 2000s. And like, I take this very personal view that it's kind of biased to say that we prefer a next, because people would tend to say that the golden age of anime is on most likely the time they started watching animes, or at least when the most relevant shows for themselves came. Like, personally, for me, golden age had to be something that we are not currently on, you know. So for me, the golden age for me would have to be the early 2000s, which with shows like Clannad, Gurren Lagann, Code Geass, hell, I don't know. There's just a lot of shows from that time, from early 2000s, that even today people still talk about it. Like, it's crazy. After 10 years or over 10 years of the show being released, people just still talk about it, make memes out of it, and that kind of stuff. I mean, it's crazy when you think about it. What's the amount of 10-year-olds, for example, in comparison, for people maybe not so familiarized with anime? Like, what's the kind of, how many series and movies are over 10 years old and still remain relevant on the cinematography on Hollywood, for example? Like, you probably can count them with your hands, right? And just the fact that you have such a large amount. I mean, I said three, but there's a lot more that I just probably won't remember for some reason. That are just so still spoken and still discussed nowadays. But then again, it's very subjective to say when's golden era. But I think this, I would say the golden era would be right now, as we're going through a lot of shows that would probably make a giant impact on the anime community. But I have one major problem. Isekais, high schools, and shitty ecchi romances, which are just raining out of the sky as the anime industry just continues to rise and become more profitable. More shitty shows come along. It's inevitable.
Yeah, I mean, like, because like one of the problems I probably have with, like, this new generation is that, like you said, people are still talking about animes like Code Geass, 10 years old. But then, like, we go to like something like Attack on Titan, which was, like at the same popularity like Code Geass probably was, if not more. And now
I think that Code Geass was actually here, maybe Sword Art Online and Attack on Titan, and that, I mean, but that's not just a bit of an exception, I guess, because even though it was by 2006, it really got a fucking worldwide knowledge above Code Geass, even though I believe Code Geass is better than that for a long shot. But,
yeah, because like what I mean is basically like Code Geass have made people fans for it for over years.
Yeah.
And then we look at Attack on Titan, and it looks like those fans there have totally like given up, and like that's what I feel about
it became mainstream just for being mainstream, where the shows where the fans kind of died off with the hype. They still exist, but they kind of converted to the manga, which kind of can't be really considered the same fandom and it also makes Attack on Titan not really relatable to Code Geass either, given Code Geass is actually an original show.
Yeah, no,
But in a
no,
way, I
no.
understand what you're saying.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, because
And
like,
even Sword Art Online, it's still there, but it's kind of just. I mean, Sword Art Online is one of those things. It's just there. People already given up on talking well about the show because there's just nothing to talk well about the show.
Oh, I think.
yeah, yeah, because like all these like the new sequel there was for Attack on Titan, like now season 3, and no one's really talking about it. But here comes Code Geass with like season 3, and now everyone's
Ah,
uproaring.
yes.
After
Ah,
10
yes.
years, they're still
It's
there.
crazy. It's crazy. I was like, oh, when I saw that on my feed, I was like, I just stopped there for a second. I was like, is this true? Like, I started googling it. I was like everywhere, like my anime list, Code Geass season 3. I started searching for other stuff. Giga making a video about it. I was like, what the fuck? When I realized I wasn't dreaming, I was like, I just jumped out of the chair. I was like, what the fuck? What? It was legit the announcement that got me the most hyped about. And it isn't even my favorite, it's among my top 10 favorite shows. Very like among my top 5. But it's not my favorite show. And I had the biggest reaction I could possibly have. It was insane. I was like, I spent that night I couldn't sleep. I was at that point.
Yeah, because like after 10 years, people are still sitting on their chairs and like ready to like spring at the second notice. But like when we go to Attack on Titan, and it's like yay, I'm excited, I'm gonna watch it and forget about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Carried
like
that off, sadly.
yeah,
I mean, I say sadly because the second season was way worse one, in my personal opinion. It was just a shame it was a 12-episode show.
yeah,
It
yeah,
was
because like
really bad.
yeah, because like that's what's wrong with this generation. Like we're so like like we like totally like suck on it like intensively, but then after it's done, it's like everyone just throws it away.
And we need to understand something. I think that we, somewhat outside Japan and outside the actual culture of anime, I really don't know how in Japan works, but for us, the new anime ends up being a little bit different from what people see in Japan. Some of the old shows end up being somewhat the same because what would come out to outside Japan was what was actually popular in Japan as well. That's kind of the impression I have. As for now, we have, I mean, you have iDive, you have Crunchyroll, you have Netflix, you have Amazon, and all of these people, all of these companies are putting their money onto shows that probably people aren't even going to watch, but they're still putting it out anyway. And as anime is getting mainstream outside Japan as well, what ends up happening is old people, like adults from like let's say 30s or above 30s, aren't gonna go back to anime to watch the more mature shows. They just keep going without watching anything. They just don't watch nothing. They just won't watch it. So it ends up still being for the more young audience, teenagers especially, like 12s to 16s, 18s. And 18s is already a bit stretching out because usually people don't start watching anime with 18 years old or above. And so these people, you tend to have a very particular, straight kind of things they're expecting from a show, you know?
Yeah.
Which is, once again, when it comes to the problems of this new generation, isekais, shonens.
Oh god, shonen, yeah.
I mean, my problem isn't with the shonens, it's just how people put most shonens on a fucking pedestal, like the savior of anime. Like, that club is a fucking piece of shit. It should die in the pit of fire and have a pig eat it and shit it.
Well, what happened to like just what you said? Shonens are not my problem. I mean, like die in a fire.
I mean, it's Black Clover. It's Black Clover.
Oh yeah.
If they're well made. I mean, it might seem a little bit biased, but I love Boku no Hero. It's so much fun to watch. I love Hunter x Hunter. They're both shonens. They're both superly well made. They, especially Hunter x Hunter, it just feels so in depth. It's fun to watch. It's really fun to watch, and that's what a shonen is supposed to be. A shonen, I don't think a shonen needs to be very technical. It just needs to feel good. It just needs to entertain you. It needs to put you on the hype train. If it does that, perfect. But of course, it also needs to be well adapted. That's where you have to Pierre. We'll talk about Pierre more after you go to Tokyo Ghoul. But yeah, I mean, that's what younger people like the most. High schools, tragedy romances or comedy romances. Nothing of the sorts of Tsukigaki Rape, which aired. It actually aired a year back. Yeah, it was a year back. It was just like a straight pure romance of two teenagers, just with no tragedy, no stupid comedy. It was just two teenagers try to get along in a relationship. It was really nice. It was face, and I bet barely no one watched it. Barely no one watched Sangatsu no Lion because it's what else? I mean, I can just keep going. Everyone want to watch Maid Dragon because of the picture and have cute dragons and giant boobs, and of course everyone watch that shit. I'm not saying it was a bad show. I'm just saying it's kind of biased to say it was one of the best shows there was, just because it appeals to most people. That's kind of bullshit. It just doesn't reflect on quality. And that's what here we're kind of talking about between the old anime and the new anime. I think that needs to be pointed out.
Yeah.
Okay, so anyone else want to or
Well, let's say that again. You cut out. Like,
anyone else wants to add something to this? Or
You pretty much like said what needed to be said.
well, very well then.
actually, I have something to add, and this is just like I'm sure you're just gonna say it's like biased.
It
But,
might
like,
be, but I mean, coming from you,
but-
I'll say it anyway.
well, all this popularity and all this attention anime is now getting. Well, I'm
Mhm.
kind of I'm skeptical because when people like Kim Kardashian then promotes it, and like, here's the thing, I don't hate Kim at all. I don't give a fuck about her. I didn't
I hate
even
her.
know of her Wait, what?
No, sorry, no, just kidding.
Well,
I don't-
anyway, like,
whatever.
well, here's the thing, her fans, I'm
Yeah.
just kind of like very get into anime,
Fans
like
carry.
like say they're all passionate about it, but here's the thing, would they really get into anime if Kim Kardashian didn't even mention that shit, right?
I mean, the question is, will they even get into anime in the first place?
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
the
yeah,
big question
yeah,
should be
yeah,
making.
yeah, because the
Because they
thing,
probably won't.
yeah,
Even with
here's-
the
No.
call out.
actually, because it's literally happening. Kim Kardashian, said she was crazy about anime, and all
Yeah.
her fans like, oh, I love that shit.
Yeah, like Avatar: The Last Airbender was best anime.
Yeah, like, and
Yes.
now they're just gonna creep in and like be like, say they like anime, but the real question is again, would you really like anime if your god Kim didn't say that shit?
Okay, so the question, I think you're kind of looking only at a portion of what's going on, because here's the thing. Even if Kim didn't say shit, anime will still get mainstream
Yeah,
eventually. It will. It's a growing industry worldwide. So even if Kim,
yeah, but, yeah,
it gets to a point, only the Deborah celebrities will actually make the first call outs. That's how it always is. So, I mean, you're always doomed to have certain kind of idiots going into anime, and I don't know what makes me fear is that these people will eventually shape how the anime will end up
Exactly.
growing.
yeah. Yeah, because
Because as for now, we in the West, nobody gives a shit about us. You like the show, yeah, good for you. Japan doesn't. That's just how it works. And I'm actually kind of thankful for that because my tastes kind of go into the same path as the Japanese people. If it wasn't for the Japanese people, I wouldn't have a sequel of my favorite, surely. So I am kind of thankful, but it's kind of scary as a lot of Western companies are starting to produce animes. For example, shows that come from Netflix will most likely start to be very dependent on the Western public because
well, yeah.
since Netflix is becoming a producer as well of many shows, you know, will eventually start to shape in, and I think this is the first step to how the West will actually start to influence the, the the new anime that'll come out.
Yeah. Yeah, that's also a fear I have.
Yeah, I just hope anime stays Japanese. I think that's its
Well,
charm once again.
well, like, yeah, yeah. Here's the thing. Like, I have heard multiple times that people, has said that Japanese don't give a fuck. They do what they do. So I
Yeah,
think like we have nothing to really fear because Japan's not gonna sit there like, oh yeah, we gotta make it fix more American.
no, yeah,
Like,
that's the thing. But those who actually, how can I say, the producers are the ones who have the shows that come out in their hands. They're the ones who put the money on the table.
yeah,
If you get big companies like Netflix putting their money on the table, like I want this specific show because the West also likes the kind of show. You're kind of dependent on on that kind of stuff. So for now, you mainly only have Netflix putting that money as a producer. For example, Crunchyroll maybe might have produced one or two shows, maybe, but Netflix is more focused on getting the show on their streaming service, producing stuff. But Netflix is actually betting on that, and as Netflix does it, some other companies will start doing it as well, and that yes might actually shape, at least even if a small portion, at start, what will come out of the next couple of years. But then again, it's the next couple of years that will be decisive. I feel.
mm. Well, really the only thing we can do is like wait and see.
Yeah,
What is this gonna happen?
we
What's gonna
mostly have
happen
no
at the end?
power.
Yeah,
And
like
there's also this very recent organization. It's like a non-profitable. It's still a very small organization. I think I sent you the link. Spooks. It was like the Flying Pig organization. It wasn't that. It was like I think the letters are like FCF. So it's like a non-profitable, like to represent us in the West to Japan. They're trying to like, they did a census of people who watch anime, and it wasn't an anonymous census. So you like put stuff in, like whatever you do, whatever you like the most, whatever, how you stream it, if you stream it, if you watch, if you also read manga or other medias, this kind of stuff, your age. So like they get in the data to try to have like sort of deals or at least collaborations with Japanese actually related to the anime industry to try to have someone to represent us in the West, inside Japan, inside the anime industry. This is actually a very new thing. I'm actually kind of interested to see if this will actually go anywhere. A lot of people have been like trash talking about these people, saying they're just doing it like, I don't know if it's for money. I don't know, but I've from what I've understood, I haven't seen it myself, but a lot of people are like trash talking about these people, and I think that's just kind of mean. They're doing just representing us. I think doing that for no profit whatsoever, they're getting nothing out of that. I think that's very valuable, and I think that might be important for us as well, more than Netflix betting on producing shows.
mm,
I think that's very important as well. So yeah.
yeah,
So I think that's about it. We already spent a lot of time on this subject.
yeah, a little
A
too
lot of
much
time.
maybe.
Probably. So, Miksha, go for it. What do you have for us?
Uh, so another subject.
Yeah, yeah, bring it.
Right. So your favorite anime and why?
Oh.
Oh,
Okay.
oh, hold on. I feel like you have already said that, right? With Leon, the
Yeah, but I can add more stuff. Try
all
to,
right.
yeah.
Right,
Okay,
so
go for it.
for me there are two animes. It's Spice and Wolf and Sakura no Pet, because
Mhm.
again, what I said the first time, it shows something real. Mostly Sakura no Pet, but it's just that like, however, how much you try and shit, there's always somebody better, and you must learn to deal with it, because
Mhm.
you're not gonna get stuff for granted, you know.
Yeah, you gotta make an effort for it. You gotta fight for it.
And Spice and Wolf, because it's real stuff with real characters, but put in the fictional place, so it
Mhm.
gives a little bit of
I mean, all isn't exactly real, but I get what you mean. Yeah, the circumstances they're in are real.
yeah.
Yeah.
Um, so real situations, but in a fictional place. So
Mhm.
I don't know what to say. Uh, it makes
So
it
so it somehow
it makes it
makes you.
enjoyable to watch, but still has meaning,
Yeah.
right? And the first time I saw it 3 times already, so I pretty much like it.
I guess so.
It was like it
Who's
can
counting anyway?
um, the part where like Nora leaves the
Uh,
church behind.
oh yeah, okay, I see. Yeah.
Spooks, have you seen it? I don't think so.
See
I don't.
what?
Yeah, Spice and Wolf. If you haven't watched it, have you
No,
speaks?
I haven't.
Yeah.
So she leaves the church behind, and it's like you must learn to leave things behind, because you must learn what's good for you, because you're the only person in your life.
Yeah. Actually, this is actually a question I have. I've only watched like one season and a half yet. So, is it from at least from that season and a half? Is it much different from the light novel in terms of adaptation? Because I know you have the light novels, right?
Yeah.
So,
It pretty much is that the important things, all the things that are under that are just descriptions, and
mhm.
they just skipped over the volume 4 for whatever reason, but nothing happened in volume 4. So yeah,
Well, did you consider it a good adaptation anyway?
yeah, uh, pretty goddamn good.
Well, then that's great because this is a studio that I've never really heard of it that much. So I was kind of curious to see if this is any good at adapting whatever they did. But yeah. So Spooks, you want to go ahead next? I think I know which.
Oh
I'll
yeah.
wait.
Well, actually, I've like always been balancing between Steins Gate and ReZero, but I like always go back to like saying that.
White Fox fanboy.
Well, yes, I just can't give up on ReZero. Like,
Yeah.
like I feel like that's like everything right from comedy to horror, to like and the most important, like the pacing. Like
Mhm.
it feels just right on. Like like everything is just like how you like want it to go. At least
I
for
think
me.
I think I think sometimes it seems a little bit repetitive with all the dying. There was some parts where I felt like he kept the same episode always going over the same thing. It felt kind of
Well,
redundant. Then the struggle he had with repeating that felt also a little bit repetitive. For example, Steins Gate, he sort of had the same kind of experience, same
yeah.
traumatic experience, but he had that traumatic experience and he kind of got out of it, even if he didn't got over it. He set his mind to something, and you never really got to repeat that kind of trauma again. Thankfully, because that was also for a long time he had that with Mayuri. Um, as for Subaru, I feel like he kept doing that, like constantly doing it, you know,
Oh yeah.
with the same struggles, and that for me was a little bit repetitive in a way. I understand it was from different kind of points of view every now and then, but it felt like it was like always going to the same points, you know.
Yeah. Well. Yeah. Yeah. Like yeah, fucking like the part like basically like half the other show where Subaru is like in this fucking phase where like everything's going shit, right? Like
Hmm.
nothing, like everything's just
Yeah, he keeps trying to
dark.
make it up, but for
Yeah,
example, someone keeps dying. I'm not gonna say who. And yeah,
yeah,
I
yeah,
get it.
yeah. Like he can't stop the unavoidable.
Ah,
Fuck. How
yeah,
do you
but
pronounce it? The
yeah, the
unavoidable.
inevitable. Yeah, the
Yeah, yeah,
inevitable. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah,
at a
and like
point where he even said, "I love Emilia." Yes,
well, yeah, yeah,
the
like
legend was born.
yeah, I feel like that's where like it also kind of goes, like where the show kind of lacks is like half of the whole show is just gonna be that, but
Yeah, but I think that's because of the lack of a continuing
yeah,
series, like a sequel. I think I think that with a sequel that would be fixed in a way.
yeah,
I feel like.
yeah,
But yeah, I feel like it's a great show from its production. There was I mean, I have some problems with Subaru's face structure. I don't know. It doesn't feel natural. But
it's a cat like.
yeah,
Like at times he looks like a cat.
I don't know, like that chin, like those chicks. Like I don't. I just it feels like Michael Jackson face as well. It doesn't seem natural, you know. I don't know. It's kind of awkward.
Oh yeah, like also fucking Receiver's like the only anime where actually like can remember all everyone's names, like it's not some crazy Japanese, Isukuka. It's like it's a
Oh
super
well,
Ram Emilia,
that's
the normal Westerner name.
yeah. Did you have like more? What's the name of the? Well, then you go to the other characters. You always forgot
Well,
one
yeah,
with the air blonde, which looks like a fucking elder, but still a lol. I don't know. She's kind of disgusting. Um,
well,
the one from the library, I think,
oh fuck,
with the
yeah,
pink
that's not.
dress. I
Hold on,
totally forgot her name.
let me
But
just
yeah,
search.
and then there's also the knight.
Oh yeah, you talk about Beatrice.
Yeah,
Beatrice.
Beatrice. Yeah. It's still a
Beatrice.
Western name, but we forgot about it.
Yeah, yeah, cause like I'm fucking terrible with names. I like forget it like in anime and real life. So like when they actually like had that normal like European
Mhm,
kind of name, like wow, like because the name of the character, you like have that connection to them because like
mhm.
that means you really care for them.
Yeah, you tend to know the name of the characters,
Yeah,
which you have
and
more.
yeah,
Yeah,
exactly. And
yeah,
that's
yeah,
that's like
definitely.
where it struck me because like they're also like easy to like get used to then you like ah sorry stutter.
Take your time.
um but yeah, they I don't know, like all the designs are too actually diverse, like to like big shiny blocks, like where you're like actually like oh yeah, like in like fucking Emilia, yes, she's like all white and shit, and then you got Rim and Rams like red and
Blue, yeah, like pinkish. It's more like pinkish red. It's kind of an awkward color. It's like salmon. I don't know. It's kind of
Salmon.
yeah, kind of salmon color. Is that a color? Do you call that a color? Like if we have here in Portugal, we call it salmon. Oh, obviously in
Uh,
Portuguese. It's like this, like sort of reddish pink, kind of bland. I don't know. It's the color of salmon, the fish. But
oh,
yeah,
oh, you like that? Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. But well, yeah. I thought just always liked anime where like there was like a kick to it, like it's not like on this most times on the server it's like extremely cute and like you know nice and calm, and then you get really into the anime and why ReZero is ReZero,
Yeah,
like
yes, it
then
can be very
everything
aggressive.
like even all the traumatic shit happens and you like all the happiness you had in your
And
heads
it,
just
and it
fades
feels
out.
a very like a very lonely. show in a way, because it's when you do time travel shows, you need to give this, which ReZero does it perfectly, but I think you can more easily see it on Steins Gate as well, because it's time travel involved. Steins Gate will, in my opinion, always do it better on how, um, for example, okay, in ReZero feels alone in his struggles because of his power, quotation marks,
Oh yeah.
uh, and he feels kind of alone with the pain he has about only
Yeah.
him seeing this and feeling that, like looking at other people's eyes, like, how do I save you? Like, what can I do about it? I just can't control what's going on. And Subaru has that same feel to it, and I that's something I really enjoy in the show as well. Personally, it's not my perfect show. I can see a lot of flaws that for me kind of every once in a while sort of kill it, but it's overall a great show. I really watching it as well. I'd love to see a second season.
Well,
Definitely.
well, yeah. I'm just gonna finish off with like you. I'm shit at defining shit.
Yeah,
So,
go for it.
but well, here's the thing. Like ReZero, like why I like ReZero is because it balances everything. You know, from horror to thriller to comedy to romance. You know, like it like puts them all perfectly. You know, in like a really nice manner, like Steins Gate also does. Like, like basically, like those two are my two favorite animes, and they. It's kind of it's so bad. It's like a coincidence. They're both, you know, time
White
travel
Fox.
anime. I don't have a
White
time
Fox.
travel fetish. Oh yeah, and White Fox too. Like I have no idea why they like.
Shit.
But like that's the thing. Like it's not because they're like time travel torture that they appeal to me and they're my favorites.
Don't
It's
worry.
just-
For me at the time, it was like all Madhouse.
Yeah, I know. Like it's just a coincidence, and at the same time, they both, you know, does what I like. They balance everything perfectly to make it like, you know, an all around show.
Yeah, I get what you mean.
Yeah. All right.
Okay, so I guess I'm left.
I rest my case.
Yes, it's well rested. Don't worry. Okay, so I guess I could talk about Sangatsu no Lion, which, like I said, the one I like the most. But I kind of feel like if I want to talk about Sangatsu no Lion, I'm not getting out of anywhere. But I can't really think of another show I should talk, or at least, you know, mention more. So I mean, we've talked Game of Code Geass. I've talked about Sangatsu no Lion. What else? We've also kind of spoken a little bit of Full Metal Alchemist as well. What else could I go for? Yeah. Let's see. Let me go through my list real quick. Maybe I can find a show that I can talk about. I mean, I'm going to talk about Sangatsu no Lion. But I'll try to keep that one short and add something else, so it isn't just the same. Okay, you know what? I think I know which one I'm going to talk about. I'll say it once it begins. Once we go for it. Or maybe, I don't know. Oh boy. Okay, you know what? I've talked about Sangatsu no Lion. I'm going to... Fuck it. That's how it's going to be. So, the first one I want to talk about is airing. I think we've mentioned it before, and I think it's a show that didn't get the spotlight it deserved in the beginning.
Oh yeah.
For stupid reasons. I guess it was just overhyped in the beginning. I mean, I'm not saying that it was overhyped, that it didn't deserve the hype. They got so much hype that people probably wouldn't even enjoy it in the first place. Also, were dragged onto the hype train, and then got disappointed for stupid shit that makes no sense. It's like someone's disappointed by watching a shonen because it has people punching each other, where it's like, in their romance lover and hate this kind of stuff, and they're like, why are you watching it in the first place if you're gonna complain about their own genre? Like, what? Like, It's like people were like complaining because Violet was emotional. That's kind of the point. that she was a war machine and she's now a person. She can't really feel like other people do. Like you can't say that's. I mean, that's kind of the point. And I think that's really the charm of the show. Like the way it feels unrealistic in many ways. The way that she's like 14 or 15, and the previous years was just fucking murder machine, killing everyone without barely even using her weapons, which kind of makes no sense. If this was actually her anime, it'd probably like go down the drain. But because it's actually a past war show of someone who's trying to regain or gain something they never had, her own humanity, it feels very, I don't know, very special. Like you hear her and you see trying, like actually making an effort to understand simple words that for us are all like very common, like I love you, and what it is to feel empathy for someone, what it is like to cry, what it is like for simple things that all of us really just consider something common, and see someone trying to like so forcibly to try to understand these feelings, all of them, even those that are actually hurt you. It's really like, I wouldn't say inspiring, but they they really make you like feel empathy for the character, and that's personally what makes this show as special as it is. All the production value in the show is purely amazing. All the direction, all it just the story, the writing is also brilliant, and it's a show that the character isn't alone in the process. You have these like little stories that she kind of tells from her point of view as well, in a way, because she's the one writing the letters. So she goes there and she has to understand the feelings of these people, and once she can put it in a letter, that's when she kind of understands a little bit of herself. And I don't know, it just feels extremely special to me. It's a show that I'll definitely, I'm actually considering giving the 10 depending on the next 2 episodes that are to come out. I think the two, actually one got released as we're talking about right now. I have to watch that. And I think it's just an amazing show. It was, personally, I believe it's most likely the best Kyoto animation series so far that I've seen. No doubt. I don't think there's any other that could compare to this. Maybe Free. You know what? Maybe Free. Surely. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah,
Surely.
it's Chef too, right?
What do you mean?
The anime.
What? Wait. Sorry? What is it?
Yeah, the March in the line. It's like
Shaft.
Yeah, it's Chef too, right?
Yeah, Shaft. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Nice.
So I guess I can say a little bit of Shaft off while I'm at it. So Success Online is, like I said, on my top anime. I've already explained a little bit why. I think that the animation is I think what makes this show as great as it is, it has 2.5 factors. 2.5. Of course, the original material is great. It is. But it's not any studio that would be able to pull off what Shaft pulled off. Its director, it couldn't be any other director. I don't think many more directors could be able to pull this show off. This is a show, like I said, it doesn't rely on on extreme tragedy. It doesn't lay on any kind of very, drastic thing. I mean, every now and then it does, but it's a show. It's kind of the same thing as Monogatari, which I was actually going to talk about as well. What would be Monogatari without Shaft?
Yeah,
It just wouldn't be. And I think the direction, the things that really take part in this massively is the direction, to be able to play with the camera angles as well as Shaft does, or mostly the director, to play with the camera angles as well as it does, to even the most simplest of the scenes to feel immersive and complete. And obviously, the animation, the way, because sometimes we feel stuff, but we can't really explain what we feel. And that's kind of the same thing with Kiyomi Ray as is in the depression. And all this animation around him, like he uses color and shapes and even kind of art styles to give you the feel of what Kuriyama is portraying around him. Like very tough lines for very like kind of angry moments, maybe very dark tones and very blurry kind of traces, like when he's kind of feeling down or like kind of sad, kind of unmotivated. Light, like very strong colors when he's like, for example, with the Kawamoto sisters, and he feels this like light coming to him. Like I don't know, it just everything about it. Like if the show didn't have any lines to go with, just the animation soundtrack, which I really love, and direction would tell almost the same story without anyone saying anything. It's amazing. That's about it for me. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. So it's your turn, man.
Wait.
Yeah.
Mixus or
You spoke about Olo, right? And Olo, Spice and Wolf.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I've spoken of ReZero and Steins Gate. I guess we're done with this one.
Yeah, exactly. So it's your turn to for the next subject.
Well, shit, let's get a little 20 here then. I mean, like, oh god, like, I feel like we've already talked about Hero Academia a lot.
I mean, we can still talk about it.
Yeah, why not?
What's the biggie?
Is it just what we think about Boku no Hero, or a specific question?
I don't know. I mean, like anything. Like, I guess, like, well, I'm gonna. Well, yeah, I guess I'm gonna say that I'm not too wild with Hero Academia. I'm really just watching it because it's trendy.
Yeah, same.
I would probably drop it already if it weren't because we're so fucking high heels popular right now.
There are some. What? Have you finished it or still watching?
I've finished both seasons. I mean, it's good, but I got so many problems with it.
Sincerely, the only characters I like is the girl I talked about, and Stain, the villain. I think he was pretty good because not his design or anything, but the fact that he
like his motives and shit.
Yeah, because he actually fought for something that a villain shouldn't. Like he wanted heroes to be heroes and villains to do villain stuff.
So are you talking about Stain?
Yeah, because
just like preparing script.
Mm-hmm.
Because heroes in that world just became a company instead of actually being a hero, and the meaning of hero isn't there anymore. They're just like overpowered policemen. What can I say?
Yeah, I guess I can really feel is perhaps like a lot of people like complaining that he got like, oh my god, another like in the Crunchyroll Anime Awards, oh my god, another Boku no Hero award, yay. I mean, fuck it. I mean, I was one of those, but not in this category. I think this category was actually well deserved to stay because it was one of those villains with some actually philosophy behind it. I think that's way more interesting. Even though he was kind of a short kind of villain, there wasn't much to him. He just appeared and disappeared. But I think he's definitely. I mean, he's a better villain than the actual main villain so far. So I mean, I don't know. So it was great that he was there. I actually loved him in this time. Like even his character design and his personality just betrayed everything so well into philosophy. But yeah, it's a show that has been getting a lot of attention.
Yeah, I think maybe maybe just a little too much.
I think it got like the Sword Art Online treatment because it kind of added something new where we need it, like in a time of need. not necessarily being that good, but being something relatively new.
Well, yeah, I see where you're coming from, but I think the difference here is that Boku no Hero is actually good, while Sword Art Online is it's just well. Forgive me for a complete fucking mound of dog shit, and it should know its place.
The first, the first 15 episodes, though, everybody loved the first 15 episodes.
No, I loved the first maybe 6, perhaps less.
When Asuna became Kirito's bitch, that's when the anime went downhill.
I mean, she became her bitch kind of from the 6th episode. From the moment they're like fucking, oh my god, like that I can't forget that moment. They're at Asuna's house,
Oh yeah.
and he's like, he's just there to eat stuff, and she's like almost getting naked. Oh my god, I was like, what the fuck? Call the police. They're enraged.
Oh yeah, I mean, like afterwards he gets like all like alpha, like I'm gonna marry you now.
Oh, Jesus Christ! Like he says something, it gets misinterpreted. She's like already getting naked. She's like already in her underwear. Like that's the kind of shit you do on a fucking parody, not an actual show. Get out of my face. I mean, on the other hand, on Arnold Skill actually got to see us in the stits, so I guess that's a positive point.
Oh yeah, like I think like that's the only reason I gave the new movie a 7, even a 7 is because of nip slip.
I have to search that.
Oh yeah, I saw that on Facebook, on Twitter, or whatever. It was like, director of Ordinal Scale teases Asuna's tits for the Blu-ray release, and I was like, what? What am I missing out on?
They're good.
Where am I missing out on? What the fuck? Why did I watch the fucking cam version? I should have waited for the blue. Because the theater version didn't have any tits. Feels bad.
Yeah, gotta protect the children.
Also, kind of
You got
context. There was a scene, if you remember, where Kirito was being hit by like 4 guys at the same time, and he was just.
Oh yeah,
Oh god, yeah.
standing there like.
That's pretty bad game balance, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean.
Didn't just consuming his 1,000 potions.
This just became from Boku no Hero, which I think trash talk a little bit and have some fun. I mean, it's just ridiculous, like how much spotlight Sword Art Online got. It's just, oh man, I don't know. It's just I don't see anything aside from the openings and the animation that actually worth mentioning. Aside from that, there's just nothing. The characters are completely flat. Like there's nothing to them. Kirito is just some. Also, I don't know if it's only me, but Kirito's like character design feels so fucking flat that when you look into his eyes, it feels like kind of like on as well, but like kind of in the wrong position. kind of like he's losing track of where he's looking.
Hold on, let me just.
Is this only me, or is or is he actually looking like it's over there to the buildings? I don't know. Like it's like I don't know. Like I just it feels so flat. It's like I don't know. Maybe I'm just seeing things now. Oh man, I don't know. It just feels so flat.
Yeah. Because like here's the thing. Like everything about it is just black. Even his eyes are black. Everything is like black.
Like for example, here on this picture here. I mean, I guess for the podcast it's not really good.
I'm just gonna edit it.
Yeah, just edit
okay. I'll put it here on the Discord. Like this picture here, for example, it looks like he's like with one eye looking somewhere, then with the other eye looking somewhere else. It's like
his left eye is like looking down.
Yeah, it's like a robot. He doesn't really know what he's doing. It's like I'm just programmed to be here. I don't know. I just fucking hate that. And Hasuna. Oh man, Hasuna. Ah man, she's that kind of hoe you just fucking boy. Oh yeah, and there's also the gun arc. Oh boy, the
Yeah.
gun arc, the gun
Uh,
game arc.
haven't really seen anything rather than season
Uh,
one.
you don't need to see anything but this picture I'm about to send. This is all you need to see.
Oh yes, gonna.
Yes.
I must.
Oh yes.
I must see hentai of this.
That's you say you want to see it, but that's Kirito.
Yeah, I
Well,
know, I
not
know.
not really. I mean,
That's
like,
when you that's when you really want to admit that traps are gay.
Wait, traps are only
Oh, wait.
3.7% gay because you know
Which
that's the
which
volume of
which
the
one are
face.
better though? Which one is better? Here's the real ask.
oh god, Christian.
More. But yeah, enough of pictures. I'm not gonna. Oh man, I don't know.
Right, so Boku no Hero.
Yeah, but couldn't hear right.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
I mean, at least we don't have any Kirito or just kind of flat characters. That's a good thing, because I actually see some effort put into the show. I also kind of read the manga as well. I guess when you read the manga, like I watched it kind of seasonally, the whole show. So for me, it felt like it actually had some distance between the first season and the second season. And as I read the manga, I mean, I read obviously all that just straight away, and it felt for me it felt kind of awkward because it felt almost as if it was like everything right after the next, while the show kind of gives this impression of time distance between each event, between the seasons. I mean, and I don't know. I'm not saying it's a bad thing, but I don't know. It kind of hit me. Like I don't know really what to think of it. But I mean, overall, it's a great show. It has great animation. I don't think best less.
Oh yeah,
It was
oh yeah,
funny, I guess, slant voice. It's
yeah,
kinda
like-
questionable.
So
go
I
for
don't know, like, but at least in the first season, it just screamed Westerner to me.
Wait,
Like
what?
like you're, I don't know, like in the first season, for me, it kind of like like I feel like it wanted to be more Westerner, still Japanese, anime,
Well, it
but it
was
wanted
actually.
to like adopt like more colorful Westerner kind of style.
I think that the actual, the whole concept was actually inspired off Marvel and DC.
Yeah, exactly.
I think the actual at some point. I mean, I don't mind that. I mean,
Yeah,
it was an interesting take on it. I mean, you see a lot of power people, like power based shows, magic, that kind of stuff. But I think it was an interesting kind of take on it. It's not that just the kind of magic kind. It was like you are actually what you have, like in terms of powers, I guess. I mean, sure, you have like I don't know, fucking fairy tale. Every kind of person has its own kind of magic, but it always reserves to these kind of common kind of stuff and very restricted type of magics as well, like ice, wind, illusion, poison, dragon, fire again, ice, water, wind. I mean, I'm sick of that shit. And then you have this, which is a guy who's like fully made of wood, and a power which you pass on to people. A power which just disintegrates stuff at a touch. Like it actually seems like creative stuff, not something you evolve to create new powers, but something you adapt to the power you have. Instead of the power just growing, like you adapt to the power you have, making it stronger. I think that's a thing I actually enjoy a lot about Boku no Hero Academia, which I can to Hunter x Hunter, which is on how tech, like I want to say, it's not just about the power you have, it's about how you utilize it. You might be in a disadvantage, but you play it smart, you use your brain, and you get your weaker power to actually beat the stronger opponent. You know,
Mm.
it's something I really enjoy, especially about Hunter x Hunter, which does of course better than Boku no Hero Academia, but Boku no Hero does it quite well as well. For example, the fight against Stain,
Oh
that's
yeah.
one example. Which they were obviously at a disadvantage, but you know, pull the strategy, try to pull it up, and it worked. It was nice. It was a nice fight.
Yeah.
So, anything else to add? I mean,
Out of context,
anything you
but
guys want to say?
you said something about Marvel, if I remember.
Marvel, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Remember when Madhouse did the animes on Iron Man and Blade?
Oh yeah, they did that. I mean, I didn't see any of. Yeah, they did
Just
a lot of stuff.
you just remembered me of that.
Yeah, I wonder if those are even.
I
I
think
mean, it. I mean, it's Madhouse production. It should be good. The question here is in terms of actual stuff.
I think
Because I have. Go ahead. Go ahead.
I think the Blade one had something like 7.40 on my anime, so decent for a fucking comic.
Kind of shit though. Because I don't know, like I have on Madhouse. People say Madhouse died after 2011 because of a lot of staff leaving Madhouse. Like staff very important for shows of the sorts of Monster, Death Notes, you know, classics that Madhouse made that were considered, you know, really big at the time. And most of those people died or left the studio. And people were like, yeah, it was kind of dark. And it was like, oh my god, I mean. And I'm like, okay, so at Tomb, No Life, Punch Man, Overlords, the Death Parade. I mean, where does it stop, really? I mean, where? What do you mean they're dying? I don't see that happening. I just don't. They're going at it like they never been before. I mean, not like that, but you know, they know what they're doing. It's not just because a couple of guys left, they're stopping.